It's 1993. Nirvana just played the absolute worst show of their tour at the Aragon Ballroom in Chicago. The venue sounded like a cavern, and Kurt's vocal monitors were a problem, and he was bedeviled all night by guitar issues. The band didn't even play their biggest hit, Smells Like Teen Spirit, and when the house lights went up, the crowd erupted into a massive chorus of boos. According to the press myth, this is the part where the ultimate brooding, miserable rock star goes back to his hotel room to sulk. But he doesn't. Instead, backstage, a disheveled Kurt Cobain drinks a cup of tea, dotes on his smiling one-year-old daughter, Frances Bean, as she barrels around the room, and then later, back at the hotel, armed with nothing stronger than a pack of cigarettes and 2 minibar bottles of Evian water, makes a shocking confession. Against all odds, he's never been happier in his entire life. To understand why this is so surprising, you have to look at the hell Cobain had just crawled out of. The media painted him as a whiny, complaining schizophrenic who hated his life. And frankly, the previous years were brutal for him. The ballistic success of the album Nevermind hit him so hard and fast that he literally didn't know how to deal with it. He actually wished there had been a Rockstar 101 course to prepare him. Worse than the fame was the physical agony. For 5 years, Cobain suffered from a severe chronic stomach ailment. The pain was so intense it drove him to the edge of insanity. He spent days just lying on the floor, vomiting just air, unable to keep any water down, and he would cough up blood minutes before walking on stage. The pain was so unbearable that he wanted to kill himself every single day. Eventually, he turned to heroin, claiming he used the drug, at least in part, to opiate that severe chronic pain. But by late 1993, a massive shift occurred. He was off the junk. Thanks to new medication and a better diet, his stomach was finally healing. He could actually eat a huge pizza and keep it down. For the first time ever, he was genuinely enjoying being on tour. So where was his head at musically during this surprisingly happy era? He was incredibly frustrated with his own success. Specifically, he was completely sick of Smells Like Teen Spirit. He admitted that on a bad night, he literally wanted to throw his guitar down and walk away rather than play it. Why? Because he thought it was just a cliche joke at that point. When he wrote it, he was just trying to rip off the band the Pixies. He thought the main riff was ridiculous, sounding too much like a Boston song or Louie Louie. He hated that the MTV generation had the song pounded into their brains, completely overshadowing tracks he thought were much better, like another song off Nevermind, Drain You. He was also tired of Nirvana's signature sound. The band had mastered a specific dynamic formula: play a quiet verse with a clean guitar, then stomp on a distortion pedal and scream the chorus. He was just bored of it. He wanted Nirvana to evolve, to become more psychedelic or focus on lighter dynamic acoustic sounds, much like the band REM, whom he considered saints. In fact, he predicted Nirvana only had a couple of albums left in them unless they completely broke their own mold. He refused to end up like Eric Clapton, changing the songs just to fit his age. Cobain also clarified his intentions behind controversial tracks. A song originally cut from In Utero was called I Hate Myself and I Want to Die. He explained it was meant as total satire, making fun of his own miserable public image, but he knew people would take it too seriously. Then there was Rape Me. Despite the massive backlash, Cobain insisted it was meant to support women and confront rape. It was a blunt message about karma, aimed squarely at attackers, promising them they would eventually get what they deserve in prison. There was a massive disconnect between Kurt Cobain the icon and Kurt Cobain the human. Fans assumed he was a millionaire living a lavish lifestyle, but the reality? Well, he still ate Kraft macaroni and cheese. After selling 10 million records, he bought a house, paid massive taxes, and lent money to his mom, bought a car, and suddenly $1 million were gone. He didn't have home studios or private security forces. Instead of a miserable loner, he was a deeply empathetic person who felt imprisoned by fame. He closely related to John Lennon, believing Lennon's life became a prison despite his love for his family. He hated the way celebrities were treated. Behind the scenes, the band dynamics were healing. When Cobain was on drugs, communication with bassist Chris Novoselic and drummer Dave Grohl broke down entirely. But after getting clean, things returned to normal. He even admitted to trying to give Grohl more compliments, sensing the drummer still felt like he could be replaced at any moment. Cobain called the shots, but the band never screamed at each other. Most importantly, he was a fiercely protective father. Growing up in a broken home, he was determined not to repeat his own father's mistakes. He kept guns, including an M16, in his house. While controversial, he stated plainly it was for protection. He lacked bodyguards and refused to stand by if someone tried to harm his family. His ultimate goal was simply to give his daughter Frances all the love and support he and his wife Courtney Love lacked growing up. So by now you can see how this shatters the one-dimensional tragedy we've been sold about grunge's biggest star. Yes, the music was born of intense pain and youthful rebellion, but right here at the peak of his fame, he was finding peace. He was making friends with local bands at bars. And he was marveling at the simple joy of eating pizza without pain. He had stopped judging his own mainstream fans so harshly, finally accepting why they loved his music. He was an artist, actively trying to escape the grunge label before it became completely passé, because he wanted to grow. Kurt Cobain did not want to be a tortured god. He originally just wanted to play rhythm guitar, hide in the back, and write some good songs. He knew that evolving meant risking his entire fan base. When asked what he would do if the kids hated his new, softer musical direction, his answer was perfect. He just laughed and said, "Fuck 'em." That is the real Kurt Cobain.